everyone, and welcome back to another episode of OHKO, a Pokemon VGC podcast. NAIC is literally this weekend, last IC of the season, last big event other than Worlds of the season, and a lot to talk about heading into the event. My name's Sierra Dawn. I'm one of your hosts. Joe Brown is traveling already to NAIC, so I decided to bring on a panel of experts to talk a little bit about the metagame heading into this weekend. So Justin, Chris, Kian, thank you all so much for joining me. Justin, you've been here before. I mean, Chris, too. Kian, hello. Thanks for joining us. How you doing?
Yeah, of course. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me again as well.
And then Chris is like, oh, and I have to be here. Man.
No, I don't want to talk over them, you know?
Appreciate you, Chris.
You'll get used to it as soon as we talk about meta. Everyone just yaps over each other. It's all good. But everyone here is going and competing at NAIC, myself included. So how are we all feeling about NAIC coming up? Because I know like there's always like the two sides of the coin, right? Like there's the, oh my gosh, I'm panicking. I cannot believe that this event's in a couple days. And there's other players that are like, I've locked in my team, I'm vibing, and everything's chill.
I feel awful. I mean, I locked in my team today. I actually have a team now, but it's hard to say if it's the call or not. I think it's the first time I've picked a team like really last minute in a while, and I didn't really have a set group. Like I usually work with another person. Sheeling dropped me, so I know it's crazy, right? My own bro, my day one, and I had to find my own stuff, and I think I found something, but we'll see what happens. That's all I can say. Whatever happens, happens.
Sorry about you and Chiliang.
Okay.
I'm feeling nervous. These guys, they don't have to worry about anything. I still have to play decently well to get the Worlds invite guaranteed fully. So I'm a bit more nervous than they probably are, and they get to just have fun, even though they can say that they're nervous.
Yeah.
Chris, how you feeling?
I don't know. I mean, school's been slowing down the last couple of weeks, so I've had like a lot more time to prep. But even then, like it took me a really long time to find like a team I really click with. So I'm kind of with Justin. Like I locked my team in today. And I'm hoping to like, my goal is to cut this IC because, you know, I didn't really do well at LAIC. And then I've just kind of been improving ever since. Like EUIC, I went X3. I think it was 9-3 or 10-3. So I'm hoping I can just kind of get that last win I need and then make top cut. But you never know.
No. I believe. And again, I want to talk about you being nervous heading into the event because well, I mean, most recently, you just won like the VR tour, right? So is that something too that just like helps going into the event? Is still just like nervous because there's so much on the line? Like, does that help solidify things for you?
Kinda. You know, I'll be running the same team, so it's a lit like the less day one pressure. You know what I mean? Because it's I just want a big event, so I don't have to worry too much about like feeling, oh, is this like the right team call? You know, like winning the event helps that way, but still like. You never know at these big events, you know, you could pull an insane run or you could just like burn out day one because maybe it's not your tournament. So yeah, it's still a little bit of nerves, but overall it's like the vibes are up because we won, you know?
That's good. And I want to talk a little bit about VR heading into the event because this will obviously our most recent little snap of the metagame heading into things. Give me half a second to pull up the tab, figure out how this works again. Take 2 weeks off a podcast and I forgot how to do absolutely everything around here. Yeah. And look over the teams too. You can see it. Chris there. Congrats as well for the top cut. But
Thank you.
First question I really want to talk about with VR is kind of just like the general thoughts of it going into the weekend as well. I know the community was asking, and I took a bunch of community questions going into this, so I'll sprinkle them in throughout the conversation as we go. But they were also wondering too, like how reflective VR is of an upcoming tournament like IC, because people could be hiding stuff, they could be playing and testing like you were, Kian. Like, where exactly do we feel with how this went?
I mean, I think it's completely like meta reflective. I mean, if you look at the top 8, I think there's like so many, like almost every restricted duo is like pretty unique. You have Zacian Kyogre, CSR Koraidon, standard CSR Zama, Miraidon Kali Ice, and then like Miraidon Zama, and then Miraidon Lunala. So it's pretty reflective. I think like all of the teams you can see in top 8, you could realistically say like, well, I could probably play that restricted duo in the tournament.
Yeah, I'm with Kian on this one. I think one thing about Regai in general is that I feel like every tournament, when I'm looking at the top cut, like the best placing team, it always looks different. Just like even like I guess the official tournaments, like this is like a grassroots one, obviously, but like between I guess Bologna and Portland, it was just like a massive swing in favor of CSR Zama. So I think like this is kind of showing where we are going into NASC, that like it really matters that you have comfort over comfort on the team rather than the team being like perfect, and that's kind of why we see all these different restricted duos.
Then Justin, where are you on this list? Do you not play?
I've never played a VR tournament before.
Never.
Honestly, I thought about playing it because I was like, okay, maybe I have time. But I was like, oh, I don't have a team. And I just saw my team today. But maybe if I had something to test on Saturday, I would have done it. But I was too sad to play. I had nothing. Congrats on your run, but I couldn't play. I had nothing.
Wow.
Next time.
Next time.
All right. I mean, what about your thoughts, like, of the meta, especially as someone who's been a little indecisive about the team, like, going into the event, considering, too, Kian's talking about, and Chris, too, like, all the different events and what they've had in comparison to now you see everything here.
I think, I agree with most of your takes. It's pretty reflective. I think the one thing I want to point out is, like, Gavin won in Portland with Cali Ice and Kyogre, nowhere to be seen here. I think kind of also shows that the meta is kind of, I won't say it's, like, staying, like, completely away from it, because I know some people are probably still running it. But I feel like the builds are not nearly as refined as CSR Zama, for example. CSR Zama has been dominating since day one. You got this one top cut here. We saw Bologna a while back also here. Kian went with Swordfish. I think that's also an archetype that's been kind of rising more in usage, but Kian's like the expert at it. So here it is with the win. But yeah, overall, pretty straightforward. I feel like NIC is going to be a mix of everything, especially when you have multiple countries going at it, right? Not just NA, people from Europe, people from Asia come in. So all the metagames can collide together. So yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting that there's been a couple different times now that, like, these Kyogre teams have won when obviously Kyogre's not really well represented whatsoever. You have Kyogre that won this, and then scrolling.
Yeah, 0 in the cut. Only a few in day 2.
Yeah. And then, one with the Calyrex Ice Rider. You get one with the Zacian. Samuel, he's got the same team as you. You two and Eternus at third.
Whoa.
That's crazy. I actually got to pull this up for half a second, and I did not expect that.
Life to double.
I've seen this team before. It's very fun.
Whirlwinding. What is? Wait, did you also the name? Copy.
I'll be pressure stall better. Each turns EVs OTS.
I'm kind of curious. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what does Mewtwo do here?
It's pressure.
Yeah, I don't really.
It's pressure, so you stall. Double pressure stalls out the PP of the signature moves like really quickly.
Yo, this is heat.
It's kind of heat, yeah.
New NAC team for you, Justin.
You know what? Yeah, I'm changing my team.
Just get the reconsider there. But yeah, the point of all that was, like, there's not really too much Kyogres anywhere. So I'm kind of curious then too, like, why it's just like the one-offs Kyogre, like, wins Portland, wins VR. Like, it's not a fluke, but do we then think there's going to be more of it at NAIC, or is it still just not too many people on this Pokemon in comparison to some of the other winning restricteds?
It's definitely not a fluke, but I think there's less Kyogre believers than there are with other Pokemon. I think it's a lot easier to pick up something like Miraidon or Cali Shadow or whatever and call it a day. With Kyogre, it's like, I think people are also scared of using Kyogre because it's like, it's not particularly easy to use. I also think like the comps for Kyogre are more limited than the comps for the other restricteds because they're easier to build around.
Yeah, I completely agree with Justin. Like, if last time we saw Kyogre be really, really good was Dynamax, and you could kind of augment like being able to miss moves with like Origin Pulse and Hydro Pump with Max. So you wouldn't have to worry about that. But I know a lot of people who are like kind of scared of missing moves. But if you look at the other restricteds who can do spread, you can't miss with a Glacial Lance or an Astral Barrage, So there's no need to worry about that. But with Kyogre, if you want to hit spread past Water Spout, you have to lock in Origin Pulse, which is not the most consistent. So a lot of people try to lean away from that stuff. Yeah.
There was a practice game I was against where somebody had a Hydro Pump. And the first time that they clicked it, because they already took damage, they whiffed it and just lost the game right off of that. Just average Kyogre moment, sadly. But it makes sense. And for anyone who's listening, obviously, we're going to a lot more little meta conversation going to NAIC, because there's been feedback that would want to get some of this conversation and stuff too. So Kyogre, okay, maybe some at NAIC because not fluking, but what do we kind of think are going to be like the winners then of NAIC if we're looking into the event? Because that's obviously going to be like the big question, right? And in a format where kind of seems like everything's viable, how do you even then start to narrow down?
I think one thing is we're gonna see a lot more CSR Koraidon, to be honest. Another duo I think is gonna be a big winner at NASC is Koraidon Pagus. I think that archetype's a little underexplored. And I think one thing is like the Koraidon's really good into CSR Zama, which I feel like is one of the harder matches for Pagus because if they're Sash Kali, they have like Encore for your Calm Mind, and then the Zamazenta Body Press is just kind of blowing up your Pagus. So I honestly think like we might see 1 or 2 Koraidon Pagus in day 2 at NASC, which is kind of a crazy thing to say maybe.
Would it be something a little, I had to scroll, I think this is 30th at, oh my goodness, if it's
someone day 2 with it. I don't remember who.
Something along these lines.
Yeah. Like these teams are low-key scary, I'm not gonna lie. Because the Flutter Koraidon, they just blow up your front, and then you can't like deal with the Pagus unless you have like multiple ways to hit it. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, this doesn't look fun.
I think Pagos will shine at NAC. A lot of the strong Pagos players are going, and I think it's an archetype that like not many people respect, right? Everyone has their like alliance to the other restricteds right now, but Pagos is one of those things where not many good players really use it, but the good players who do use it are really, really scary to face against. Like I dread it when I see a strong Pagos player I'm going against, just because they know how to play the game really well and they know how to play Pagos.
I mean, yeah, like back to your original point, what do you think is going to win? I think like you said, like the format's so wide and so many things are so viable. But if you're trying to whittle it down, like at the end of the day, I think like a lot of restricted formats just come down to like comfort, and especially like NAIC, like people are trying to lock in like their invites to Worlds. I think like you'll see, I don't know if you'll see like much meta innovation just because I know a lot of people who were just like, oh, I just need like top 512 or top 256 in order to lock my Worlds invite. So let me just lock like CSR Zama or something I'm really comfortable with. So I think like CSR Zama has like a really good shot, even though like it has a huge target on its back. I think it's just like still so well positioned that I think it's probably going to win.
I'm in the same boat. I think CSR Zama it's just too good. I feel like it's really hard to mess it up with it, and the comps of it are just so like refined, right? You can either go like the focus sash encore stuff, you can go like the life orb offensive sets with nasty plot or whatever you want with it, right? And there's a reason why we always see at least like one in cut now. I think Milwaukee was kind of an outlier because it was I don't think the builds were nearly as good for it. But now that people know what the good CSR teams, like you see Bologna is a good example, right? I mean, the meta is it's kind of more biased, but I think the teams that did well here are definitely teams we can see do well at NIC.
We don't think it's gotten to a point where this team is like too prepped against, because like I know in my own prep too, like the first version of the team that I was thinking of did not fare well against Kale Zama. So that was like priority number 1 is, okay, how many Pokemon am I changing to make sure that I'm not negative into this team? Like, because I'm putting other teams aside to make sure that I can beat this one. Like, our players, is it going to be a case of it's just kind of squished out because everyone's countering it? Or is this team just way too strong that it's still going to show up anyways and be able to do really, really well?
I think the issue is that you can prep for one CSR Zama variant, but like looking at this, there's like, 5-6 different variants. You got to prep for Whimsicott, Tailwind, you got to prep for Among Us, you got to prep for Heart Flame, right? It's like you can prep for maybe the top few ones, but it's hard to cover for everything that CSR Zama has, right? You pair CSR Zama, you throw on 4 of the other most broken Pokemon, and you call it a day, and it's really hard to cover everything. And also, everyone also plays CSR Zama differently. Some people like to do like the fake out cycle, protect every other turn, or people just like raw, Ashes Barrage, no Terra in front of Incineroar, stuff like that. Like everyone does it crazy. It's so hard to cover for everything. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I agree. Like, I think if you look at like these results, it kind of like reminds me of like 2015, I believe, when Japan like just swept the Worlds with Kangaskhan. And like, even though the teams were similar, like they are here, like if you look at like the details, like the fine details, a lot of them are different. Like the CSRs is like what the main thing comes down to. Like I think Max Musumeki CSR had sub, and then you'll see some other ones that will have like be Sash, some are like Life Orb, and then even stuff like POW, someone like Life Orb and Sash, where can like really impact how your game goes. So like Justin said, it's really hard to cover for everything as well as like covering all your other matchups. So I think like it's just really hard for you to be like, oh, I have a super good CSR Zama matchup when there's just so many different versions of it.
I think another thing is there's just going to be so many CSR Zama players going to NAIC. So, theoretically, like if you throw like 30% of the players, they're all running CSR Zama, like one of them's got to win,
Maybe they just all take each other out too, because that
I'm
the
hoping.
mirror doesn't look fun. I don't know if you guys saw the meme of like I figured out the mirror and it's just spinning the wheel when you do your first turn.
Yeah.
I saw Sanvi's tweet on that.
Yeah. Yeah, that is number one reason why I'm not playing Shadows over the weekend. That just doesn't sound like a good time. But okay, even if the team's prepped against should do well. Is there any team just kind of in general, like any restricteds? Because we've actually had like 7 events kind of globally now. Like we've actually know quite a bit about this meta. Is there anything at this point we're kind of just like over, you don't think is going to be doing as well at NAIC? Like where is the state of the metagame right now?
I think Miraidon Lunala Tailwind/Balance is gonna, I think it just has fallen off, to be honest. I think all the good Miraidon Lunala right now are like Calm Mind Lunala with Scarf Miraidon. I think like the Electric Sea variations have kind of fallen off right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I ran Electric Sea Lunala at Milwaukee. Our group had that, and I know some of the Italians were also running their variant, like Federico. But I think it's really hard to deal with Caesar Selma with those variants as well. I think like really good Caesar Selma players can deal with it, and Electric Seed is not nearly as consistent as like Leftovers, double fake out stuff. And I think like the French who dominated Bologna with it, there's a few on them. I think there was 2 in top cut. Like Calm Mind Lunala is really hard to stop when it gets going. It's really strong versus opposing Miraidon, and Scarf Miraidon is also really good versus CSR. So you kind of cover each other's weaknesses really well with that.
I'm like 50-50 on it because like Justin said, like in Bologna there was a few Italians. I know Luca Cerabelli and Fede Campo were like some of the big Italians running it, but I know they have like a big group and like most of them are going. So I could easily see it like maybe not winning, but easily performing like a top 8 just because the team is like very solid. You have like a lot of good pivoting pieces. It kind of reminds me of like the Arabega. So you could say it's like this Arabega since the Italians are running it. So I think it's not horrible, but it's not like the best team that you could possibly run.
I think it's like a B- tier team. I don't know. It's like I think the players have to carry it harder than any other player, I feel. And it helps that they know the game plans, like you said, comfort's key. But like as an archetype as a whole, I feel like it's not nearly as strong as the newer Calm Mind stuff, like Chris said.
Okay.
I think another thing that's kind of fallen off recently is Leech Seed Cali Ice. I think the problem is just that I know. I think the thing is we saw Bologna like a huge spike in Cali Shadow Zama, and I think NASC will probably be similar. And just kind of the thing is like when we have a Cali Ice sitting in front of like a Shadow Rider plus Zama, like the best you're doing there is just clicking Leech Seed, or I guess you can hope they don't click Wide Guard. But either way, like it's just like in front of Zama, you're just losing that inherent pressure I feel like you kind of need. So I think we might see more like Clear Amulet, high horsepower versions, or even like maybe AV. I don't know if AV is good, but I think more Nevermelt Ice, no more Clam, more high horsepower stuff might show up at NASC.
I went up against a Bright Powder, a Cali Ice, while I was practicing. The look on my face when I missed Glacial Lance into it, like there was the whole Windows loading like symbol.
It's kind of genius. That is your CSR on the matchup. You dodge the apple and the body press. You set trigger for free. That easy.
Might be cooking. I mean, then Kian, is there something that you think's kind of falling off, or is everything still kind of just like a little matchup roulette? Like we can kind of see anything.
In my personal opinion, I've never been a Pogos believer, and I know Chris said like Pogos Koraidon is good. No, never when Pogos was legal did I ever think it was good. And like the CSR Pogos, it's a valid archetype, and you'll see one I think in almost every top 8 of like the big majors that we've had. But I just don't know how it does it. I don't know how it does it because they do the same lines over and over again. But I agree. Like the good players, like the really good players, like they know how to manipulate the matchups that even like if they're bad into. But I'm still not a believer. I don't think Pogos is good.
I mean, I I'm very okay if it's not good. Pagos is annoying, so we can take about it the tutorial. I'm okay. But we keep talking about like, okay, if the good players play it, if the good players, then near the end of this episode, we are going to do NAIC predictions for some meta stuff, and I'm sure we'll talk about meta while talking about players. But I want to talk about like players going into the event, because I know you guys did a draft, seeing 1.5 million drafts on Twitter now. You know, everyone's talking about who's going to do well going into the event. First off, impressions. I mean, internationals. Like, there's always the players that maybe at a regional don't do well, then they always show up at internationals. There's always the reverse. Like, region-wise, who is the strongest? Like, how are you feeling, like, player base-wise heading into NASC?
There's a lot of strong players going, right? It's hard to say if like another strong, like, proven or previous winner will win, or we'll have like a Tim Edwards or Pat Con kind of thing, like a person who hasn't built a team before come up and win the whole thing, right? The underdog story. And we've had that happen like almost twice now at UIC and NIC last year. And I think that it's hard to say because Regulation is kind of new, and I don't know, like I can't really predict who's going to win exactly, but I think that the people who have had previous success from Regulation I so far will do well. Like my first pick was Joji or Suika, who won multiple GCs. He also won the previous rank season. And I feel like Japan in general, the Japanese players who are going, even though he was Australian now, he's still one of the Japanese players like him, Shohei, strong, proven players. I think that they're very hungry for that win. They've been close for it before. And I think that they'll probably shine here in NAC.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I'm gonna pair it kind of what a friend of mine, Yo Tom, said. I think he like ran the numbers, and that like over the past few NAICs, like the player base, I think around like 10 to 20% were non like NA players, but almost every single time that 10 to 20% almost always got points, and like placed pretty well. And it makes sense because like if you're going from like like another place like Europe to New Orleans, like you will obviously like want to have confidence going into that event and like placing well. So I think you can like bet money that like non-NA players will do like relatively well. But for NA players, I would say like someone like Emilio, I think can have like a really strong performance and is like probably hungry for that top four, since like I believe that's his only way to like get a Worlds invite. Yeah.
For me, I know we're doing NAIC predictions later maybe, but I think I don't personally think like an underdog is gonna take the event this time. I think in Reg G we saw a lot more, not even just, PACON at NAIC, but in general, we saw a lot more like underdogs winning events. Like I think it was Vancouver, we had an underdog, right?
Right.
Almost every regional, it seems that there was like an underdog winning.
And then I think in Reg I we've seen a lot less of that. And even just the events this season, like the internets this season, we had like Marco winning LASC, and then obviously Wolfglick winning EUSC. So my guess is that Reg I is just gonna kind of follow the trend, and I think NAIC is gonna have just like a pretty known and like well-established top player taking the event.
I want to talk about the region thing going into this, because obviously the people traveling, it's NASC, people traveling, and kind of how we feel like they'll show up in general, especially too with the regional differences, because we have gotten to see a few different metas from Regulation I. Obviously, Malonia, we got to see that it was the CSR Zamir in the finals, though that will be a team that every region will play. Portland was just absolute crazy stuff with multiple Kyogres and just absolutely everything. Like, do we feel like with the events that we've seen that there's going to be one region with an inherent like advantage, or is it just kind of too early to tell, a little too diverse within the meta to really be able to say?
I think it's too early to tell. I don't know. I feel that at NSA usually there's like a mix of everyone as well, right? Primarily like there's mostly North American players. But we also have, a few Europeans on top cut. We actually had, Alex Gomez, he won NIC a while back as well. And then we had Aurelian in finals last year, right? But it's usually, a mix of everyone, right? You should expect at least some North Americans to, defend our land, right? Do somewhat well in top cut. And then the invaders, of course, like, I think that some of the invaders, like, they want to do well because, again, they're coming from another country. They're spending more money on travel. But that's why I was kind of saying that some of the Japanese players, I think they're are hungry and they can probably perform maybe better than usual because they know the format as well because a lot of them have done well this format before. And also, they just hungry for the win.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Justin. I think Japan is usually like a pretty strong region to bet on. I believe in EYC, Yosuke got top 4 to get his invite, and Shohei, I think, has gotten top 16 at every event minimum that he's gone to. I think top 16 in Melbourne, EUIC, LAIC. So I think like Japan is like a pretty strong region, not only because like they have like pretty strong ideas, but like their building groups are like they like have tight knit building groups. So like they really get to flesh out ideas and like test into a lot of unique stuff that we don't really get to because they practice in a completely different way.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the Japan train too. But I think another thing is like they obviously don't have as many people going to NAIC. So I think like we're not gonna see a lot of Japan, obviously, but I think if you look at it like proportionally, Japan's gonna definitely like have a greater proportion of Japanese players make day 2 and cut. And then another thing is like I love NA, but I do kind of think EU might kind of cook us this event. I have a feeling.
Ooh.
Because I think EU is a little better at like kind of establishing, I would say like kind of figuring out early meta and figuring out how to kind of team build around an archetype. I think that's something NA struggles a little with. I think NA's a little stronger like later in the season, honestly, because like just like more has been fleshed out and discovered. So that's kind of where we shine. But I think like for NAIC, because I would still consider this early season, right? We've only had like a month or like half a month.
A month and a bit.
Yeah, a month
Yeah.
and a bit, right? So yeah, I think E is gonna cook us, unfortunately.
I hope not.
You're gonna get in trouble for that one.
I don't think so.
Hey, Chris is pulling out the hot takes early. He's not gonna hold back on that one.
We're
But,
not letting them win.
All right. Talking about players and talking about specific players, I want to ask you guys because first off, the IC is the one thing that people always say that they're excited about for ICs is who they get to play against, because obviously it's worldwide, right? So I want to know that who you guys are all personally excited to play up against at NAIC, like your dream opponent.
Ooh,
Bro, I want to play Wolf. I don't think I've played Wolf. Well, obviously I just became a master this year, but even like online events, I haven't played him in like a set before, and I think it would be. I want to see what the hype's about, you know. Like obviously he's a really good player. Obviously he's a really good player, right? But like I want to I don't know. I want to play him. I think it'd be really cool, even if I lose. Even though I probably will.
I can't believe you said you want to see what the hype's about when he's won how many ICs, how many majors,
All right,
worlds.
that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
He needs to see if it's legit. That's the only way.
yeah, you gotta confirm it. Exactly.
Nah. Wolf is definitely like legit as a player, but like, I don't know. Maybe I'll start shaking when I play him. You know?
He's beaten all these people, but can he beat me?
I know exactly. Maybe I'm his kryptonite. You never know.
No, that's Sheila.
Yeah, second to Sheila.
I guess for me, probably Marco. I think it'd be funny because we've been kind of joking about each other, saying that you're gonna go X3, whatever. Like I spoke to Existence for his last tournament, and he spoke to Existence for my tournament before that. Facing NIC would be kind of funny, either at the X3 tables or for a win-in. I think it'd be kind of a fun time. Also because he's a really strong player, a lot of respect for him. And I faced a handful of European players before, but not many so far when competing. So it'd be cool to face one like Marco.
For me, someone we all know really, Joe. I want to play Joseph Ugarte. I've played him at I think 3 or 4 majors at this point, and every single time I've lost. So like, hopefully I can just beat him this time. You know, I just need to get that one time, and then I can be like, okay, it's done.
I mean, don't you lose to hacks every time though? I feel like that's something I would want to wish on myself.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
that's
We'll
the
see. We'll
worst
see.
You don't want to pick a regional or a hometown thing to like play up against Joe? It has to be at NAIC.
Has to be Joe at NAIC.
All right. See, I would have thought that would be answer on who you don't want to play, but you know, we'll see that. That's the next question I wanted to ask. Who you don't want to play up against? Apparently, Haxes and everything else is not a good enough reason for Kian not to want to play up against someone. Who are we not looking forward to playing?
I mean, I said I want to play Wolf. At the same time, I don't really want to play him because I'll probably lose.
Bro, what? You want to see what the hype is about?
I want the experience of playing him, but I also don't really want to lose at NAIC. I also don't want to play Marco either because I got cooked by him when I played him at LASC.
You don't
It's
want
just
to
not
put
close
the
at all.
wolf video. He's gonna put in the video. If you lose the wolf, he puts in the video.
Shoot, you're right.
Do you want to be in the video losing though?
I'll have to think about that one.
A player I don't want to face. That's kind of hard to say. Maybe Eric Rios, because he double forwarded me at LIC and I lost him in the global challenge. For some reason, I can't beat him. I don't know. Like I don't like getting beaten that hard. Like double 4-0. I don't think I've ever been double 4 before.
That's brutal.
So I think that it's got to be him probably.
I don't know if I have anyone specific that I don't want to play because, like you said, like, you know, hacks is nothing's enough to stop me to not want to play someone. But I guess if I had to pick someone, it would probably be Justin here, just because, you know, I don't know if I could handle if Justin had the winning over me. But at the same time, if I beat him, you know, I'll have it over him. So probably Justin.
Okay.
Looky in general, I just kind of hate playing my friends at tournaments. You know, like I pulled Gen Z round 9, I think, at Portland, and like it just wasn't really a fun experience because like I feel kind of bad, you know, because like especially playing my friend for Winnenden, like one of us is going home empty-handed, you know. It's just I'd rather play someone I don't really know.
I feel that. I don't mind playing friends if we're still in the tournament, but yeah, that very last round, it's heartbreaking, right? Only one of us can make it. At Worlds last year, she knocked me out in 4-2. Probably the worst possible pairing to pull as a friend in the mirror. And I have other cases like that too, like faced Chuppa one time at for the winning in for day 2 and stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I love playing people I know just because I think like it makes the sets better. Like I hate losing, but like if I lose to someone I know, like it stings, but it stings a little bit less because like, oh, at least, you know, like at least I lost to like someone I know, and hopefully they'll continue to do good. But like I honestly feel like if I play someone I know, like it challenges me to not only play better, but also like I think it challenges them to play better because you don't want to lose to your friend, you know.
I mean, fair. Even if it's a win in, even if like one of you guys has to knock the other out of the tournament.
I mean, it does suck, but at the end of the day, you know, you're here to win. You know, if you have to beat someone, you know, that's just got to be the way it is.
What if it's you versus Joe again, and he beats you again? How would you feel?
I don't know. I've had that happen.
What if you
twice
whiff your world's invite for Joe beating you?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'd be pretty distraught, but you know, if it's versus Joe at that point, like I might just have to quit because then I'll just never be able to beat Joe at that point. You know,
you just roll up World Finals and Joe's on the other side. And you're just like,
it's over.
Pack it up. It's done. It's cooked. All right.
No, that would be fun actually. Playing a friend in World's Finals, that'd be amazing.
That
would be
Finals.
Nightmare.
Okay.
Could you imagine you'd be like you know, like you play a friend in World's Finals, only one of you is going to be able to have the golden trophy, and the other person, they got to walk away with second place.
Like, no, but it's your friend. It's your friend though. I think that's a little cooler because it's like at that point, if you're making finals, it's like you basically already won, not the whole thing, but you like, you know, you win the moment. It's like at San Antonio, like, even though Sheelan didn't win, he was like at that point he was like super happy that he made finals and the team did well. Like imagine if it's a World's Finals, and it's like your team building partner or a person that you know, right? Made it together.
I can see that.
Kind of sucks that you don't get the trophy, but you know, whatever.
And at that point, like neither of you is knocking the other out. Like you made World's Finals, like
yeah. You still got a good bag, you know. Money's money.
Something really interesting, Justin. I actually watched your final set the other day, and like I can tell you just really know how Shiliang plays.
Yeah.
The plays you were making, I was like, oh, Justin knows exactly like what Shiliang is gonna do, or at least like
the game 2. I knew he was gonna spoil my Lando because I'm like, this is something he would do, and I did it. And you see, he's beat me too many times. Like sometimes I can get a read on him, sometimes I don't. But like for this particular case, like it's like, I just knew. Played him too many times already.
See, I don't get to play against many people for competing, but obviously the only person I get to really play against is Joe. First off, he's knocked me out of so many locals, it's not even funny. Do not appreciate that. And I've only beaten him in one best of 3 set, and that's about it. So I
you hold on to that. That's good.
You got one more than me, Sierra. You gotta
exactly.
be proud of that.
Yeah.
One more than me.
I will, in fact. I'll take that. But all right, you guys want to do a little predictions game?
Okay.
going for
Sure.
NAIC?
For sure.
Sure.
All right. So, got a couple of questions about how we think NAIC is going to be shaking up. First one, the easy peasy one. I feel like this is pretty standard. Give me half a second because all of a sudden I got like 12 plus Discord notifications. I got to make sure that like Joe isn't dying. All right, just team issues with people. All right, cool. Just making sure is either somebody's dying or we don't feel great about NAIC, and apparently it's the second one. It's the second one. All right. First question, easy peasy. The highest restricted usage going into NAIC for day 1.
Kelly Shadow, for sure. Locking my bets now. It's gotta be Shadow Rider. Everyone's spamming this one.
Not even a thought about Izashi. Not Izashi. What am I saying? I'm way off. No, Miraidon. I don't know how those are like similar in my head, but not even a thought.
Actually, maybe close because I think for the past few majors, it's been actually Miraidon first, right? I think with CSR Zama and CSR Karanon being like as well positioned there right now, I think we'll see a little bit more. It'll probably be close. It could even be even. We've seen that before as well. It might be like CSR and then Miraidon, and they would like very closely at 1% off or exactly the same.
Yeah, I'm agree with Chris. No doubt it's CSR. I had this conversation with someone else, and I think like the day 1 will be pretty close. But I think in almost like most recent majors, CSR is like pulled ahead like considerably well.
All right, I'm gonna say Miraidon myself. Even just looking at Bologna, so like the most recent event, day 2 was like astoundingly like Cali Shadow. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. But day 1 was like 45% Miraidon.
Yeah.
So
I remember seeing that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that is true. Like, I think Miraidon does have more restricteds it can be paired with, right? Like, Cali Shadow you only have Zama and Karanon.
Yeah.
But Miraidon can be paired with, I guess the obvious ones are Zama, Zenta, Cali Ice. But then we also saw, like, Lunala, Bologna. We see some Japanese teams running, like, Karaidon and Miraidon, too. So maybe, maybe, like, I guess I could see Miraidon just because there's more teams they can work with.
I think it'd be close. I think it'd be very, very close between those two.
For sure.
All right. Next question then. Kian, I know this one is one of your favorite Pokemon, but Qian Pao, I feel, has had a pretty big glow up in this regulation. I've seen it a little bit more often. Qian Pao.
It's close. I gotta get it.
But yeah, okay. So Qian Pao, especially too, it's been on some really, really strong teams. It's starting to re-pop up, start taking over the usage. How do we feel Qian Pao is going to do day 2? Like, where do we think on the usage chart, on the top 12 Pokemon, where Qian Pao is going to fall?
I struggle to put it anywhere higher than 5 just because the cores of like Fire, Water, Grass, you got Incin, Urshifu, Rillaboom, Amoonguss, Raging Bolt. So I think like it could maybe take a 5th slot, but reasonably I think you could say high end 6, low end probably around like 9. Anywhere between there I think it could fall easily.
Predictions game, you got to pick one.
All right, we'll do
you can't say half of the usage
number
chart.
7. Lucky number 7.
Okay.
I want to say 6. Yeah, I agree with Keen's take. It's like a lot of different teams, but Instant Ursh, those guys are everywhere. I think those gonna be like top 2, 3, and then Pal might sneak in maybe 5, but with a 6.
I'm not gonna lie. I think 4 or 5 because I was thinking about it a lot, like prepping for NAIC. Sash Pow is just so annoying to deal with, right? Like there's so much less Scarf Ursh nowadays. And I think even Instant has fallen off kind of a little. So I think like POW might be a lock in 5th for day 2 usage.
You think, did you just say Instant is falling off?
Yeah, I think Instant's falling off. I think this mon's kind of jobless. So.
Jobless?
I don't know. I think Ursh could take the number 1 spot, but I don't know that the instant slander. I don't know if it can be tolerated.
I don't know if I can tolerate that, man.
I think Rilla could be number 1.
Really?
That's my guess. Yeah.
Over Ursh and
Incin? I don't know. I think the only one that could take it is Ursh. But I think Pow's just like really well positioned. I mean, it hits almost every restricted like pre-terra like super effectively for the most part. And like you like normally running like ice move, dark move, and then protect. Then like the last slot can like usually be flex. I think we've seen like so many stuff like there's Ruination, Sacred Sword, Taunt, Icy Wind. It's just there's so many things that you can do with it.
Now I feel bad that I took Qian Pao off my team.
And back. Not too late.
Interesting. No, because I can't keep doing this change back and forth between Pokemon. No. And I was the one that said I hated Qian Pao. I know. I'm going to say, so we had a 6th, a 7th, and Chris, you said 4?
I'm gonna go with 5.
No, 5.
I'm a believer, but not that much of a believer.
Not that much a believer, as you say, incense falling off. All right. I guess I'll say 8th then, because I can't say 4th, because I just reasonably do not think it'll ever be 4th, and I don't want to repeat an answer. So go for that. All right. Next question. Weirdest Pokemon to make its way into Top Cut.
Ooh, it's a top cut.
Sneasler? Maybe?
That's what I was gonna say. So I'll have
Yeah.
to think of something else.
My bad, bro.
Yeah, I was actually
Solely
gonna
answer. You got to answer faster.
I was actually gonna pick Sneasler too because I know people bringing it. So, but
Ooh,
besides that,
you heard it here first, folks.
yeah, Sneasler would be top cut.
I'll go with a restricted. I will say Groudon. If you can say weirdest mon, I will
Mm.
say Groudon.
Okay.
And
That was a good
I
one.
would say his partner then, Jumpluff. I feel like people think Jumpluff Groudon or Jumpluff in general, it does pretty well versus these CSR Summer comps. If you look at the sleep communities, obviously he has Amoonguss, Bonnet, but Jumpluff gets Tailwind, so you can Tailwind Heat Crash stuff or Tailwind Flare Blitz, whatever, if you're Groudon, and you can sleep power their whole team because those CSR teams do not have sleep immunes, like not really good ones, right? So in a CSR heavy metagame, I think Jumpluff can do some decent work.
All right. There was a jump left for VR.
Okay,
There was.
only one.
Only one, but still. I'm going to say Iron Valiant for my weird Pokemon. I know Francesco Piopero played it for Bologna, was like 6th place. And it kind of, I don't know, kind of makes sense on paper. It does cool stuff. Second World's like, for a weird Pokemon, I think this one that could be a little better posed, especially too with Electric Tree and everything.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I think of like at every like huge major, we've seen like when they were legal, the Paradox Mons, always like a weird one will slot in. Like I think 2 NASCs ago, we had Iron Moth with Justin Knox. At Worlds, we had like Iron Valiant. Even like Screamtail wasn't like usually considered like a big like a good pick, and then we saw Wolf use it to win EUIC, and then like even on the Pogos comps, you saw it do pretty well.
One thing is, I don't think it's gonna win, but I think one of the random, what are they called? Treasure of Ruins? I think one of those will do well. I guess like Wochin and Tinglu.
Or like the Tinglu.
I think one of those will cut, yeah, top 16 or 32.
I don't believe in Mochin, bro. I brought him last NIC. He was okay. Shilang was just better with it, but I don't know, bro. Mochin. Tinglu? I think Tinglu's cool. Tinglu has a few top cuts, right? Recently.
Tinglu, I think, would be interesting. Yeah, I think I've been seeing it pop up like a little bit more and more because everything's just like, okay, more screens, more defense, more special defense, like as little damage as possible coming through. So,
Sambi I played him in VR. He had AV Tinglu, and like I couldn't basically set it with my Volk because of it. Because at Stone Edge, at Sandtomb, Snarl, Ruination, like my Volk was sitting there, even at like +1, Flamethrower did like 10%.
It's kind of
Oh.
funny.
It's crazy, yeah. No, that mon's insane.
Every move on Tinglu can miss on that set.
That's true. That is true.
Brock also used that to top 4.
And
I
then
think the team
he
is good.
lost.
That team is good though, but he did miss Sandtomb with top 4, so I mean that's a sign.
if we're just not in the business of doing damage, is it the return of Fissure Tinglu?
Oh,
Ooh.
Nuts.
I don't like it. I don't like
Just go all in. Like if you're saying I'm gonna miss, I may as well miss a move that's
Fisher, Stone Edge, Relation.
They're all 50% at the end of the day, right? You might as well do the one that's 1 hit
50-50.
KO.
You either hit or you don't
Yeah.
hit.
So true.
Exactly. I'd be down to see Fissure Tinglu at NAIC as long as I don't play against it. Because if I don't want to play OHKO moves if I'm not playing an OHKO move myself, right? Rip Torkoal. I miss my Fissure Torkoal. Those were the good old days. All right. Weird restricteds in top cut. I was about to say top 8, and we're gonna do top cut. And by weird restricted, I'm gonna say Kyogre. How many Kyogre do we think is making its way into top cut? Considering we don't actually really see too many, but there's always one or two that kind of do well.
Four,
I think,
4 or 5?
I was gonna say 2.
2.
Maybe like one at least top 8, one maybe top 32.
Yeah, I'll say 3. I'll go right in the middle. I think Kyogre has like potential, but like I said earlier, like missing moves can really sway things, especially like once you get in the top cut, it's single elimination. So anything can really happen from there.
I guess I'm taking 4 then.
I'm gonna be a hater. I'm gonna say 1.
What?
Oh,
This is
This
one
is
is
your
Kian.
one. You're
That
the
one-
one who said
that
he's
one
going
is
to be in
Kian.
cut.
no, I didn't say it was gonna be cut. I just said that there's normally a couple in cut, you know?
Yeah. Now I get it.
Hey,
Hydro miss.
yeah, also my team normally has a good matchup into it. I have to play bad. You know, we'll take that. We'll take that. So I will personally knock the Kyogres out of NAIC. Easy. Sorry, Kian.
Oh my
Heard it here
gosh, I'm
first.
hoping I
Whoa.
dodge you then. I'd rather play Joe than you at that point.
You know, I will take that. No further content. I will take that. Correct. Last but not least, and this is always the question: who is going to win NAIC? And you cannot say yourself before anyone tries to be cheeky.
That's a good question. I gotta think about this.
I mean, I don't know. I drafted Joji first. NIC is so big, even though he was my first pick. It's like I can see multiple people winning, multiple big names. Like I mean, we talked about Shohei earlier. We talked about Wolf. I don't know. There's just too many people. I honestly can't say. It's easier to guess a pairing winning than an actual person winning.
Let's do pairing first while you think about a person.
Oh, I mean, Sirius Osama. Okay, so
Ori. Okay.
That's a cop out, Justin.
No, it's
I'm
not a
gonna
cop-out.
go.
I mean, for
Nah,
real.
it's a cop out. CSR.
I said CSR Caridon, so.
CSR Current, CSR is
I think the
CSRs.
CSR will do good. I like. I don't know if it can get over the hump of like winning the biggest event just because of how big the target is. My money is going to be on Miraidon and Zamazenta. I think that has a lot of potential.
Okay. I don't want to say like because my initial thought is Miraidon Kali Ice, but then that's also what I'm running. So I'm not predicting it because I'm playing it because I do not think I'm winning. But I don't know. I think it's a cheeky pairing. I spent the first half of the regulation we've had so far hating it because I was like, one goes fast, the other goes slow. I don't like this. Now I'm realizing it's just busted. And I have more appreciation for this team. So I will show it that appreciation and I'll say Callie's Miraidon. But not by me, as much as that would be cool.
And who's the person who's going to win?
I think it did really well in Korean Nats, and then also like Teru Square, I think it's called, some Japanese online tournament. It did really well in that one too.
There was a Scraggy that did well at Trainers Cup. I don't know if you
yeah.
saw.
Yeah,
That was
seen
crazy.
The Scraggy.
Yeah,
I think CMRI is like a good call. I think at the beginning of the format, like it struggled to find footing just because a lot of people were pairing it with a lot of the Arobega partners like Ogrepon, Iron Hand, Whimsicott. But now I think like there's so many like different unique partners that I've seen with like Ice Rider Miraidon, which is like Scraggy, you know, and I think it could be due for a big win.
Maybe I will win NAIC. I'm just kidding.
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see.
Never 0% chance, right?
True. It's either 50-50. I either win or I don't, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll take that. We'll take that. All right. Now no more copying out. Who is winning NAIC?
I was saying EU is gonna dominate, so I think I gotta choose an EU player. I think Torviv. I think Torviv's a good pick.
That was gonna be my pick. No.
Sorry guys, I'm in your head. You just got me.
That's crazy.
Low-key, like I think the people who win NAIC are always people I am I feel like are what's it called? Not on the radar. So by on the radar, I would think someone who like did well at NAIC. So sorry, Kian. But sorry, I'm in Victory. I'm at VR. I'm in Victory Road. I think people who like and then obviously like the people who just won or like top 4 Bologna, like they're probably what I would call like on the radar. So I don't think it's gonna be someone like super on the radar. So in terms of EU, I gotta pick Torviv or Cherry. Obviously, like they're not like bad players. Like they're definitely established good players. Like Cherry won Worlds and Torviv.
We get it.
All right, my bad.
I think
I'm gonna get clipped. I'm gonna get clipped.
Worse.
Hey,
I'm gonna get clipped out here.
Do you want to go,
I'm gonna get
Justin?
clipped.
Chris stole mine. I was gonna say Torviv.
I know. I gotta think too.
I guess I'll just do my draft pick. I was second pick for our draft, and I picked Joji or Suika. He always does well. I know he actually didn't do well at NAC last year, but I think that he's feeling the regression. He got a top 16 at Melbourne. He won the whole card season. That's like generally impressive. He's won that like twice now, and he's won like how many global challenges in a row? 3, 4. I think he's due for a really big win. He's won like the probably like similar to Torviv, right? Maybe not making the finals and not winning, but he has these top cuts and he hasn't won yet. And I think he's one of those players for success that can easily take over NIC.
Makes sense. All right, Kian, are you ready, or am I going next?
I'll go. I think that NA can hold on to the title. I think last year they did the full sweep. I think we can do it again. I'm going to pick Emilio. I said him earlier. I think he got close to winning Portland. I think he got top 32. And I think he can easily like pull off a big win here just because of how good of a player he is.
That's a good answer, Emilio. I hope he gets top 4. That'd be sick if he just does the Emilio thing and just all of a sudden starts showing up. World invite done, easy peasy, no ifs, ands, or buts, right?
Yeah.
Be down for that.
Also ready? Gavin and Andrew, they stole the invite. They come up.
Pardon?
Gavin and Andrew did the same thing. They came up and stole the invite at the last minute.
Yeah.
So Emilio can do the same thing.
Fingers crossed. That'd be a cool story. So I think EU is definitely poised to be really strong going into the event. But I'm going to make it fair. We had EU win LAIC and then NA win EUIC. So we need LATAM to win NAIC to have like, kind of even it out. And especially with the conversations about Cali Shadow Zama, I'm going to say Juan Salerno then. He got 3rd place at Santiago Regionals with it. So, proven strong team, proven strong player. And that way it evens it out, can act in a little revenge.
All right.
That's all I'll say.
That is fair. I also
I like
drafted
the idea.
one, so
Like triangle.
Yeah. Make it even, right? Make it even for the ICs.
okay.
RIP Oceania. You get no international, so
No
you don't get an
internets.
international win either.
No.
Bring back OCIC.
I know. Bring back OCIC.
The flight was never the most fun, but the event itself, oh my goodness, I missed that.
I got a travel award to OCIC and I think 2020. And then I didn't go because like it's a long flight. I had school, but I really regret it because that was the last OCIC that ever happened.
That was a weird OCIC too, because for 2020, that was right when COVID started. So then it was like before anyone knew anything, but on the airports, they're like, have you traveled here? Like, wear a mask if you're not feeling well. And it was like the first little bout. Like, it was kind of surreal to think about.
Were they on mask mandate back then?
No.
OCIC 20?
No.
Oh, really?
No. This was like before stuff happened.
Right
OCIC was on the clear. Toronto Regionals was when that was the one that canceled.
I think like the day before the event, they canceled it and said everyone it's not happening.
They already had like people flown out and they then canceled it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like I knew someone from Texas who went to Toronto and then they literally like showed up at the venue door and they're like, yeah, sorry, you can't come in. Like you have to go all the way back. Thanks for coming though. It's insane, yeah.
At least the people that I knew that went, like they found out after, so like they didn't show up ready to, do anything. That sucks. That's brutal. All right. Last thing to end off the episode. I appreciate all of you guys for being here, especially since I know people got to pack, prep, etc. But like I said, there was a couple of questions from the Discord, and have a couple of those last but not least wrap things up because they really didn't fit anywhere else in the episode. First one from Turkey Soup. If you were forced to do either a Hungry Box chair smash pop-off or a Justin Wong roll around on the stage pop-off after winning NAIC, which would you choose and why? There's also a reference video, but I think that we get the idea.
Yeah, I got both of those. I'm gonna take the Hungry Box chair smash. That's just so iconic. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how you would smash like the big wheelie chairs that they have at the stage. I feel like that would be pretty insane to do that, but I feel it would be such a crazy moment. I would easily pick that.
Even if you get banned after?
I mean, you gotta make the moment. Are they really gonna ban the champion if they do that? I think they might give you some leeway for the moment.
Yeah.
No,
I'm gonna actually take my own option. I would like to do the senior who won Worlds. I would like to do his pop off.
like-
I don't know if you remember, he rolled around the floor and then he pulls out his phone and he takes a selfie with the whole crowd.
Yeah.
And then he posted on Twitter. That's lit. That's what I'm gonna do if that ever happens. So
The legendary was a good one.
yep.
Yeah. What was the second option between the Hungry Bucks?
The two that were given, and if you want to submit your own answer, I think that's okay. It was the Hungry Box chair smash pop off or Justin Wong roll around on the stage pop off.
He was like rolling around the stage. I never seen this one. I've seen the Hungry Bucks one.
Yeah.
I guess I'll roll on the stage. I don't know. Or if I had to pick my own option, I think the James Evans pop off is kind of iconic when he won an NAIC.
That's true. With the GIF and everything.
Yeah, so the GIF. I got great history.
It's a good one. My favorite was posting that in like the Pokemon production Discord, and someone's like, "Yo, that's a good that's a good GIF."
See, that's why you gotta do the chair one. Then you got a new GIF. If I go up there and start smashing the chair, you got a brand new one to put in there.
That's true. That's true. My options on picking my own, I always like the jumping into the crowd, like see all your friends. Picking around between the two options, I actually kind of hate both. I'm not gonna lie. But I hate rolling around on the stage more, I guess. So I guess it's chair pop off and hope that the chair's lighter, because that's gonna be really awkward if I can't actually pick up the chair.
Yeah.
You try to pick up the chair and it falls over.
Gosh.
It just looks like you tipped the chair on stage.
Yeah.
We
Well,
tried.
the strat is if you pick up the chair and then you fall over with it, then you start doing the roll. You know.
Oh.
Two for the price
Both
of
of them
one.
combined. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I think at that point though, like you're not getting a good pop off gif or just a good pop off. You just get like
You're
super
getting
fun.
injured. You're getting injured.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
if I
you're
have to pick my
slightly-
own, I do the one you said, go into the crowd like Cherry did after Worlds. It's like
Yeah.
an iconic moment to like share it
Mhm.
with your friends and stuff like that.
It's a really
Yeah.
wholesome moment too.
It's so nice. You see like the videos after and like all the friends. Like that one's just so cool. It's always a cute little moment. All right. Next question from Squid Blue. How is the meta a top player might expect different from the meta an average player like 3-5-5-3 might expect? Like how different?
Is it like the meta we're expecting to play?
Like for NASC?
I think I get what they're saying. I don't think it's too different. I think if you asked like a question like that like a while ago, it would be maybe a bit different. But like in the world where we have open team sheet and like a lot of people are more like open with sharing teams. Like I know Darsh Patel has put out like a bunch of team reports. I know Justin, like him and Shi Yang put out their team report. I think it's like really easy to get into VGC now since there's just so many resources and it's a lot easier to like understand the game at a high level due to so many people online like helping you out, that I think like the meta you can expect is like pretty similar, to be honest. Like maybe the day 2 meta might be different than day 1 just because, you know, people might bring out new stuff, but I don't think it's like too different.
Yeah. 100% agree.
Yeah.
Day 1 meta is a lot easier to kind of look at compared to day 2, because day 2 you have some outliers because it's a smaller player pool. But when everyone's going at the same time, you should expect to see what's coming for day 1.
I think like if we're thinking about it in terms of like if we're looking at the 4-0 tables versus like the 2-2 tables, right? I would agree. You'll probably see like about the same teams. I think like if we're thinking about the difference between like, you know, like the super top level players like Wolf, I think it's more like how they execute their team and their game plans, right? Like what mods they bring.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only thing that might be different is just like you said at the 2-2 tables. I think people like you might see more like outdated teams, like the one Justin brought to the Andrew Ding one with, just because, you know, if people are bringing outdated teams, it's a lot harder to pull off wins when people know exactly what the team does and what the spreads usually are.
That makes sense. All right. Next question from Queenie. What's your prep like going into NAIC? Do you have a strategy you think other people should do that you don't think they do? What's the correct amount of prep? A few games a day, a lot, grinding ladder till you drop? And do you have a ritual like I need to eat X type of breakfast to feel ready?
Well, my prep for NAC has been really bad. I think worse than usual. So I don't really have.
Don't you say that before every single event?
No. It was good for Milwaukee and for San Antonio. I think that San Antonio, I bought the ticket last minute because the prep was good. I was like, I might as well come, right? And Milwaukee, we had the winning team. We're doing pretty good with it in practice. I guess the only time I felt like that was like EYC too, because I just reused my team from San Antonio. That was kind of bad prep. But for NIC, I mean, I just logged in now, but I was trying to test out so many different comps and it wasn't really working for me. But I guess my best advice, or like how I would approach NAIC, like if I could run it back, was just pick a thing I was ready to get early, because I knew the team I'm picking now was something I was using earlier on. And I just dropped it because I want to try other things. If I had more time to just revalue on it and just have more games with it, I would feel better maybe about my prep by practicing the matchups, finalizing EV spreads ahead of time, because the team was right there for me. But I'm just really indecisive. You can't be too indecisive when you're picking a team for a tournament, and I feel like my results might be affected by that, but we'll see.
I get Chris,
you go.
Oh, I'll go. Okay. So I guess to like the answer, like the day before or like the day of, like usually my ritual is like a banana, and then I'll listen to like some songs that like get me hyped for the moment. But in terms of like prep for the event, I think like one thing that I kind of changed from like previous events is like try not to put too much like expectations on yourself. I kind of realized that like a lot of the events that I didn't do well at, like I was super hyper focused on like getting a result. Like the events that like I try to just have fun with and like use what I enjoy more than like trying to build like a team that can win. I think I like did better.
I think yeah, like kind of something is very similar to what Kian said. One thing I really stopped doing this year is I stopped making my like 60-page Excel spreadsheet of all my matchups and how to play them. I used to do that for events, like, and then I would kind of look at it after. I'd be like, wow, I played maybe one or two teams that are on this spreadsheet, and then I tried my line and it didn't work. So honestly, I think like it's been a lot more valuable to put more time and energy into like, you know, choosing my moves, like my EVs and whatever. And yeah, kind of similar to Kian on like when I'm playing in day one, I'm a little superstitious almost. I love having like a routine that I follow exactly, and I feel like it preps me well, puts me in a good headspace for day one and day two or whatever.
Glad there's someone else superstitious, because I am definitely like the most superstitious person out there.
I guess one last thing that I also started doing was I think like best of one is like, in my opinion, is better than best of three, because like I know at least on Showdown, like before they didn't have like specific best of three practice for the longest time, but I think best of one's just better because it forces you to be like a lot more like engaged with like what you're doing, because you don't have time to adjust. Like you only have the one match, so you have to be like very precise about like what your game plan is and executing it. So I think that's like a tip where like a lot of people like might be like, oh, I got to practice best of three because that's the official format. But I think best of one is like still like really, really good, and like it can be even sometimes better than best of three.
I actually agree with that a lot. Some of the best BO1 players translate over to BO3. Like Wolf's whole UIC prep was on like BO1 ladder. He won the GC, right? And he was running turns with his friends, but primarily in best of one. Joji, you know, he won the global challenges, and then the last card season, all BO1, transfers over to BO3 just fine. And Shiling's also a big example of that too. He loves cart ladder. He's always playing it. And he always has to say that the Japanese, they know better than us. You play in BO1, you're playing against the Japanese, you get to see how they play, you're playing against some of the best players. You can seal their teams, or you can learn how to play just like them or better than them. So yeah.
I'm glad to hear that, because I only play best of one, whether it's Showdown or on cart. And Joe always tells me to play best of three. Like every time I'm like, this happened this game. And then he's like, what'd you do game two? And I'm like, there was not a game two. So I feel validated hearing this, honestly. Like this is what I want to hear. I know Kian and Chris, both of you guys had like little like ritual day of. Justin, do you have a little ritual?
No, not
Good question.
Not really. What do you do in the mornings for the rituals? Like a Red Bull, coffee. It's not really a ritual, but that's what I do in the morning to get ready for the tournaments. But I don't really do anything beforehand. I guess the only ritual thing, like I always bring my plush. It's not a ritual, but that's every event. I always bring the same Pancham plush. So maybe that counts into every single tournament.
Fair. All right, my own question. What plush is everyone bringing? I am bringing the Volcarona and then the Slitherwing in the back. So it's like the little 2 or 3 of the family.
I mean, yeah, it's just the Pancham, and maybe I can borrow the small Champao from Kian.
Me? I don't know. I have to think about it. I think if I had to choose right now, probably Champao.
Were you not planning on bringing a plushie? If
I was planning, but I haven't decided yet, which is bad because it's Wednesday.
Judging him.
I leave
Yeah.
Oh no, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. Goodness.
Sorry.
I panicked for half a second.
I don't normally bring the same plush every time, but I think like I also do have a virtual like Justin does. I bring like one that's like on my team. You know what I mean? So like you got like connectivity to it. I think like I'll bring Chempao and Kyogre just because those two are like on my team, and hopefully if I bring them, they'll like not miss their moves. But we'll see. We'll see.
It helps.
It helps.
It
It
does.
helps. It helps.
It does help. The one
That's true.
regional I played the Fissure Torkoal at, every time I clicked Fissure, I turned the Torkoal to face my opponent.
Oh my gosh, the BM.
Oh man.
I swear he was hitting like more fissures than normal. I don't know. Like it was...
The plushes help a little bit. I think
This
it's
guy.
mostly just to scare your opponent because I don't think it works spell landing moves. I remember when I brought the Lando Eye plush for San Antonio. Like the one time I could answer on stream, I like missed it. I'm like
Oh no!
I'm putting this guy back in my bag.
I'm not trying to leak the teams, but I'm pretty sure like I brought Kyogre to Portland because I was using a similar team to the VR one, and I'm pretty sure when I played Alex Underhill like round 3 or something like that, I pulled out the Kyogre plush before he even played the set, and then he told me afterwards he's like once he saw, he's like, oh god, you're gonna be running Swordfish. And you didn't have like a really good matchup, so he like went into it like being like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be awful. So maybe the plushes do help more.
yes,
more
it's
than,
like aura.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is, then he knew you had Kyogre even before you played. So
That's true.
I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah,
Be strategic.
You got
Strategic
pulled like
about it.
last minute.
maybe
Last
maybe the
minute, there
strat
we
is
go.
to bring for you to bring a mon you're not using, and then they prep for that in their head,
Bring
and then
Groudon.
they see the key preview. They're like, "What's going
Oh.
on?"
You take it.
We need Groudon
You get
plus.
team preview. Take the plushie off the desk and replace it.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
Genius.
That's what you gotta do with the Slitherwing.
Amazing.
You gotta play Slitherwing down, and then like right before you hand in the team sheet, you swap out. You gotta put the Volcarona on top, and then they'll never know.
I'd play Slitherwing if Joe would make me a Slitherwing team, but he said no. So, actually, so fake. It was unreal. If it was a regional, I would be a little bit more upset, but I guess I'll play a not Slitherwing for NASC. As tragic as it is.
So sad.
All right, next question. Turkey Soup had a second one. If there are any competitors you expect to be facing in a top cut / final scenario, but we'll talk about like top cut because finals, obviously, everyone is going to prep for the next day.
Mhm.
Do you do any research or studying on their play beforehand?
That's a good question, actually.
Wait, what was the last
I like
question?
it.
So like the top cut, and then what was the last part?
Any competitors you expect to be facing a top cut / final scenario, do you do any research or studying on their play beforehand? I know like it was mentioned earlier, like in the finals, you against Shiliang, you knew how he played. Obviously, that's not something you study. You know that, but give you advantage, right?
It's hard to like study someone's play. You can like study habits, being like, oh, if like they're pressured by fake out, they might like protect more often. But I feel like a lot of the stuff like tendencies and habits, you more or less get that like from playing the person. So you'd have to play them like once or twice, or maybe practice with them to like fully understand how someone's playing. But I guess like players that like you could play against, like I'll just say Shohei, just because, like I said earlier, I don't think he's been top 16 every time. So like it's a pretty good bet that he'll do like pretty well at this one. So I'll say Shohei. You could expect to play against.
That's a good answer, actually. I think, in terms of like, I think I'm gonna play this person in cut, like, or even just I think I'll play this person in the tournament. I don't really think that's like, I don't think it's an easy thing to do because it's so random, the tournaments. I feel like obviously round 1 there's like 1,000 other people you could play, right? And then even though it gets smaller, even like from then, you don't know who's gonna make cut. You don't know what side of the bracket they'll be on, and like, but I think, like, can you predict? Can you study up on how someone plays? I think you can. I think a lot of people have habits they don't know about, and like if I just like watch their stream VOD, I can kind of get a feel for it.
Yeah. That's a good question about like kind of studying players. Like for Shiling, it's kind of easier for me because we always like mock tests. We be playing against each other multiple times. But like, just for other players I play often, like I faced James Evans and Justin Birds like 4 to 5 times now. And after playing them that many times, I kind of realized how to play. But also, like watching them on stream, you can also kind of see their play habits. Like maybe they play either too passive or too aggressive, right? And certain players will just like if they'll make the safe play or not after like either like watching them or just like you played enough times you just know it, right? Everyone has to play that.
Yeah.
So kind of what Kian said. And for top cut and what I expect to see, we kind of already bet a lot of stuff earlier in the beginning of the video, but I guess like another person I would say that probably maybe top cut. I think Dawei. Dawei has had a pretty good season. I feel like they always do really well at ICs. I think they like top 32 the last one, and they top 16 NAIC the year before that as well, and they tend to do really well in restricted formats. So, yeah.
Neat. All right. Last question. The first part of the question was, do you take your prep more seriously for an IC versus a regional? Are we all in agreement to IC?
I definitely have been for NAIC and USC.
I don't know. These guys have so many, like, these guys have titles, you know what I mean? So, but for me, I take like every event as like the same going into them for the most part. Just because like I think if you view it differently, like it's hard to, if you don't take like a regional as serious, you know, how when like the ICs and like worlds do come around, how are you gonna know like what your baseline prep needs to be and like how you need to improve, you know?
Good point.
My prep is usually serious. For this one, like I said, this is probably the messiest prep I had for IC in a while. Mostly because Sheeling's not holding my hand this time, so I had to kind of gather my own resources, find my own team, find my own people, really. But it kind of just depends on the team I have. Like if it's a team that's like, you know, by Sheeling, like the prep is like pretty intensive. Like when we're prepping for LIC, San Antonio, Milwaukee, it's like hours and hours, maybe calling per night. For this tournament, was not the case. I definitely probably had more prep for Milwaukee in the previous regionals than this IC, which is not my ideal thing, but when I'm on a time crunch and I can't find the exact thing, I'm okay with that. I just got to make do with the time I have. But yeah, it depends on my comfort on the team. If comfort's high and whatever, the prep is usually better. If it's with something kind of more random or I don't really have the resources I want, like Sheeling in this case, then my prep isn't probably not nearly as clean. So yeah.
It's fair. The second half of the question was follow up. When do you decide to use someone else's team versus building one of your own?
I am just an egregious team stealer. I do not think I've built a team for myself
Me too.
in like years, which is crazy to say. Just thinking back in my past 3 tournaments, Atlanta, that was Gavin's team, basically. Portland was obviously Kian's team, or at least like I guess a very slight variation on it. So, I mean, I do try to build my own teams, but like I think my confidence, like I don't really have like too much confidence in myself as like a builder, just because I don't have like a ton of experience with it. So yeah, I mean, I personally just love taking other people's teams because then I know they're good, you know?
Yeah.
The complete opposite. I don't think I've ever used like someone else's team like bar for bar, just because like me personally I like just building my teams out and like using unique stuff. I think that's just because like the way I am, and like the play styles I like to play are like more aggressive, and a lot of the teams that are like I guess like public and out there are more like balancy, and they have like consistent game plans. But mine are just like just step on the gas and hope that you have enough to win the game.
Last time I built a team has been a long time. I mean, like, you know, again, Sheeling usually gives me teams, or I take teams that have done well before.
Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne. I guess Fort Wayne and Knoxville were teams I like not built myself, but like I took inspiration from. Right. Like, Knoxville was basically Wolf's Atlanta team. I didn't like the parish mode as much, so I threw in Iron Hands. And then for the Fort Wayne team, it was just the same 4 from Knoxville, the Palin's core, and then I added Chen Pal and Dragapult because they were new and quirky, and I thought they were cool. So that was literally it. That's probably the most original thing I had, like Terra Steel West Pult. But besides that, ever since then, I have stolen a team from either a friend, and it usually works out well for me. I just can't build. I can't build. I don't know why. Like I've tried building myself before, but I always just recreate what someone else made, but like slightly worse. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna take it, you know. So yeah.
I think a lot of the time I take a team that did well at a past event and I just use it for the one I'm going to. So I think the question is, does that even count as me stealing a team? Like it's out there, you know. I'm just using what I have.
Well, I think
I mean,
it
if
depends.
the origin is you stealing it,
No, you steal the 6, but you make your own spreads. you know what they do. It's not like you're going
It's-
word for word, right?
It's like the ship question. You know, you replace every part of the ship. Is it still the
Exactly.
same ship? If you replace like the
Yeah.
items, terras, like
Yes.
spreads,
Not-
I think it changes to your team at that point if you change like enough of it.
yeah,
to a certain
exactly.
extent.
Like my
And
Knoxville
then-
team, first regional, took Wolf's
Mhm.
pace. He posted, speed creep the Paladin by 1, speed creep the other guy by 1, change the terror.
And Iron Hands.
People like
Iron
that.
You know, Iron Hands over the Scrimtail. You know, that's my team now. Thank you very much.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
If you steal a team and then you do better than the person you steal
It's
it
your
from,
team at that
It's
point. I
your
guess.
team is it
exactly,
now?
exactly,
whose team is it now?
exactly.
It's
So,
true.
Yeah,
Much the fonder.
The first one to actually do well with the team, it's their team officially.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right. But that is it. Thank you all so much for joining me on the podcast. For any final words that you guys have going into NAIC, where can viewers find you? Any last thoughts?
You can find me at the winning ceremony holding the
All
trophy
right.
up at NAIC. You could find me there. But no, just thanks for having me. And that's about it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I had a great time talking about Pokemon. I
Yeah.
love this game.
thanks for having me as well. You can find me at my regular socials, I guess, on Ironic Panda /VGC, YouTube, and on Twitter. That's it.
See, that's how you guys do it. That's how you guys do a plug, by the way. for
Oh,
the
okay,
social.
okay.
You gotta just so you guys
Yeah.
remember in the winning ceremony and whatnot, right? But, for the viewers, I'll make sure all the socials are posted below, so you are all covered there. Thanks again, all three of you. Best of luck to all three of you. Anyone who is traveling to NAIC, whether you're competing or spectating, safest of travels. Have fun at the event. Hopefully get to see you there. And of course, thank you as always for listening to this episode of OHKO. We'll see you next week. Until then, have fun, everyone.
You're so delayed.